So, Alexandra, I'm always fascinated with people's backgrounds before they kind of arrived at where they are today. So I wonder if you could start off and just tell us a little bit about your early career, please.
Absolutely. Well, I always say I was a little bit of a black sheep in my family because I went into the accounts department and worked my way up in industry. And that's because my family are all very, they're all storytellers, funny enough. They're all something around what they do, whether it's journalism or songwriting or actors. So no one had no one had an office job really in my family. It was very untoward. But I was always very analytical and had that kind of mindset where I was good at science and maths as well as the arts. And so my early career was working in in the accounts department and working way up, and then I used to work with automated processes for GE Corporate, and very exciting stuff. But that was way back when. We're talking. I'm not going to say nearly 20 years ago, but it's something a while ago.
Yeah.
And then actually, like most people, I ended up having a change of career, because I was always really interested in how people work and how people interact and how we do tell stories, which is actually when I decided to go to drama school. Wow. It wasn't a sudden decision. There was there was a bit of a life catastrophe that happened. And I decided, life is too short. So you want to do what you want to do. But that's where I discovered actually it wasn't performing per se that I was interested. It was actually relationships and how we engage one another and what happens between human beings, and basically when we're sharing information. And the brilliance behind this is that I was still I went back to work, and I realized how valuable those skills were and are. And so that's how I became a trainer, and ended up working in education and head of education, and using this to develop training and coaching programs about communication and how we engage one another. Alongside all of that, I then started my own accountancy practice in 2014. So that's a bit of a wayward journey to where we are now. So I've been coaching since the same time, and had my own digital practice.
Brilliant. So 2014 would be kind of just about when Xero were well established and just beginning to kind of take over the world. So quite an interesting time to join. So in terms of the storytellers that exist within your family, I mean, yours seems a lot more structured than mine. We all think we're storytellers, but that's just because we got a small amount of Irish blood, in the family. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing on your scale. So in terms of what we're going to be talking about in the conference, it's kind of loosely draft title. I hasten to add, I'm not going to force you into anything, but draft title is "What's Your Story," isn't it? So what are the kind of key tenets of your presentation?
Well, this is the interesting thing, isn't it? We so from the one point of view, we could talk about the stories that we tell when we're presenting, when we're sharing information, when we're talking to a client. In itself, if we're looking at a set of accounts, it tells a story. But what I would really like to, or what I will be talking to the group about, is actually, what story are you telling yourself in your practice? So Richard, you were just saying about the fact we have this excitement when we go to conferences, and then it dissipates, and it's hard to get back into action. And sometimes the story that we tell ourselves is that we are too busy, that we cannot change, that everything's got to be done a certain way. And I'm going to hold up a bit of a lens, and we're going to look at not only the stories that we have with your team and your clients, but actually the stories that you're telling yourself about what kind of practice you have to run versus what you want to run. And we're going to look at a few case studies about how people have changed their story and taking control over that, and really what is at the centre of what's happening for you, and really look about how you can be directive and, I suppose, take charge of the narrative of what's happening in your accountancy practice.
Yeah, brilliant.